He was the untouchable king of the dark web, until one small mistake exposed him. Luxury cars, secret villas, and a billion-dollar black market empire, all built from the shadows. This is the insane true story of AlphaBay and its mysterious mastermind, Alpha 02. But was his sudden suicide in prison really what it seemed? Stay tuned. You're about to witness the dark web's most shocking downfall. The Trap in Bangkok. July 5th, 2017. The suffocating Bangkok heat clings to the morning air. In a lavish villa tucked away in a gated community, a man sits at his laptop, blissfully unaware that his empire is about to collapse. Online, he's a phantom, known only as Alpha 02. In the real world, he is a multimillionaire playboy, surrounded by fast cars, luxury homes, and the illusion of invincibility. But outside his villa, the hunters are closing in. For months, a global coalition of law enforcement agencies, the FBI, DEA, Europol, and the Royal Thai Police, has been orchestrating this moment. Digital breadcrumbs, patient surveillance, and secret coordination between 7 countries have all led here. The mission? Bring down the kingpin of the largest dark web marketplace the world has ever seen, AlphaBay. The plan is simple but precise. They need him outside. They need him to move fast. More importantly, they need his devices unlocked. One slip, one locked screen, and years of work could vanish into encrypted oblivion. At exactly 10:22 a.m., a gray Toyota Camry accelerates down the private road toward Alpha 02's villa. Behind the wheel is a Royal Thai police agent, perfectly in character. At the villa gate, she accidentally slams the car into the metal bars with a deafening crash. The sound shatters the morning calm. Inside, Alpha 02 looks up. Cursing, he bolts from his chair, leaving his laptop open, logged into the command center of AlphaBay, his billion-dollar digital empire. He storms out of the villa to confront the driver, unaware of the trap snapping shut around him. The ambush is swift. From alleys, from parked cars, they emerge. FBI agents, DEA operatives, Thai police. Within seconds, the villa's peaceful facade transforms into a battlefield. Alpha 02 reacts instinctively, turning to dash back inside, towards his laptop, towards escape. But it's too late. The agents overpower him, forcing him to the ground as he struggles violently. While he's pinned outside, a secondary team rushes into the villa. The clock is ticking. Every second is a race against encryption. Upstairs in a minimalist bedroom, they spot it. The laptop, humming softly, screen glowing. It's still open, still connected, still vulnerable. Triumph surges through the team. They've caught the king in his castle, with the gates wide open. On that device lies the key to AlphaBay's inner sanctum. Server passwords, transaction logs, cryptocurrency wallets, the digital fingerprints of thousands of criminals worldwide. As the agents cuff Alpha 02, one question lingers in the air, more urgent than ever. Who is this man who ruled the dark web with such impunity? That answer is coming. But for now, the king has been unmasked. The trap has been sprung, and the fall of AlphaBay has begun. Rise of AlphaBay, the new dark empire. In 2014, while most of the world was busy scrolling through Facebook and Instagram, a 23-year-old Canadian named Alexandre Cazes was quietly building an empire in the shadows. Online, he called himself Alpha 02. To law enforcement, he was a ghost, but on the dark web, he was about to become a king. AlphaBay wasn't born out of ideology, it was born out of opportunity. The collapse of Silk Road had left a vacuum in the dark web underworld. Other sites had tried to fill it. Evolution, Agora, Silk Road 2.0. But they were plagued by exit scams, hacks, or sloppy mistakes. Cazes saw the chaos and smelled money. He envisioned AlphaBay not as another seedy drug den, but as the Amazon of the dark web, a polished professional marketplace where criminals could trade with the ease of clicking add to cart. In December 2014, after just 5 months of development, AlphaBay quietly went live. At first it was small, just stolen credit card data, hacked logins, and forged IDs. But within months, the floodgates opened. Drugs of every kind, malware for hire, counterfeit currency, forged passports, even weapons. AlphaBay became a one-stop shop for the digital underworld. If it was illegal, you could buy it there. But AlphaBay's real genius wasn't just what it sold, it was how it sold it. Alpha02 made the site sleek and user-friendly. Search filters, product categories, vendor ratings, everything was designed to mimic legitimate e-commerce giants. Buying cocaine was now as easy as ordering sneakers. Payments were made in Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Monero, ensuring layers of anonymity. But Alpha02 didn't stop there. He introduced a tumbler, a digital laundering tool that mixed cryptocurrency transactions, scrambling the trail of dirty money until it was nearly impossible to trace. Every transaction passed through this blender, turning blood money into clean crypto. The fees, a modest 2 to 4% cut per sale, but with tens of thousands of daily transactions, Alpha02 was printing digital gold. By 2017, AlphaBay had over 300,000 active listings, raking in more than $500,000 a day. Cazes had built a black market empire worth millions, all from the comfort of his laptop. Yet amidst this criminal utopia, Alpha02 had rules. No child exploitation materials, no hit-and-run assassinations, no hacking of Russian banks. A line even he wouldn't cross. Was it morality, or a calculated move to avoid attention from Russian authorities? No one knew, but the message was clear. AlphaBay was ruthless, but not reckless. With his empire thriving, Cazes began to fade into the background. He handed daily operations to a shadowy lieutenant known only as Snake, while he enjoyed his newfound wealth. Luxury cars, Thai villas, and a string of affairs. But power breeds attention, and while Alpha02 lived like a king, law enforcement agencies across the globe had started hunting for the man behind the mask. The clock was ticking. The dark web war after Silk Road. When the FBI finally took down Silk Road in October 2013, they thought they had dealt a death blow to the dark web. Ross Ulbricht, the infamous Dread Pirate Roberts, was paraded as a trophy. A life sentence was handed down as a warning. This is what happens when you build a black market empire online. But in reality, the fall of Silk Road was not an ending, it was a spark. Almost overnight, the dark web became a digital Wild West. Opportunists, hackers, and dreamers raced to fill the void. Silk Road 2.0 emerged just weeks after the original's demise, a bold attempt to resurrect the legend. But the FBI was watching closely. Within a year, it too was shut down. Evolution Marketplace rose next, boasting tighter security and slicker operations. For a while, it seemed unstoppable. Until greed took over. In 2015, the operators of Evolution vanished in a classic exit scam, stealing millions from their users before disappearing into the ether. Trust shattered. The message was clear. No throne was ever safe on the dark web. Then came Agora, a marketplace that prided itself on privacy and security. It thrived quietly until its founders sensed the noose tightening. In August 2015, they voluntarily pulled the plug, vanishing before the feds could catch them. Each fall created chaos. Users scattered, vendors searched for safer harbors, and law enforcement scrambled to keep up. The dark web was becoming a battleground of shifting alliances, betrayals, and digital warfare. Amid this storm, AlphaBay rose, not with a bang, but with ruthless efficiency. Unlike its predecessors, AlphaBay wasn't driven by ideology or community. It was pure business. With a user-friendly interface, advanced encryption, and clever tricks like cryptocurrency tumblers, AlphaBay became the place where crime met convenience. No drama, no exit scams, just cold, calculated profit. By 2017, AlphaBay had dwarfed its rivals. Over 300,000 listings for drugs, counterfeit documents, hacking tools, and more. Every day, hundreds of thousands of dollars flowed through its digital coffers. Alpha02, its enigmatic founder, had created a machine that printed money in the shadows. But success has a price. Law enforcement agencies around the world, burned by the embarrassment of previous darknet resurrections, intensified their efforts. The FBI, DEA, Europol, and cybercrime units in multiple countries began working together in a high-stakes game of digital cat and mouse. But Alpha Zero 2 was a ghost. He avoided the sloppy mistakes of his predecessors. No flashy interviews. No careless online bragging. He let D-Snake and his team handle the daily grind while he lived in quiet luxury. Still, the hunt was on. For every layer of encryption AlphaBay added, investigators found new ways to infiltrate. Undercover agents posed as buyers. Bitcoin trails were followed. Servers were hunted. The digital chess match had begun. And somewhere in Thailand, the king of the dark web watched it all unfold, confident that no one could touch him. For now, Operation Bayonet, the global manhunt. By late 2016, AlphaBay had become untouchable. Every day, thousands of criminals bought and sold drugs, weapons, malware, and stolen data, all under the protective cloak of the dark web. The FBI, DEA, Europol, and law enforcement agencies from 7 countries were united by a single mission: take down Alpha Zero 2, the elusive king of the dark web. They called it Operation Bayonet, but AlphaBay was a fortress. Its servers were hidden behind layers of Tor routing. Transactions were anonymized through cryptocurrency tumblers. Vendors and buyers communicated through encrypted channels. Every time investigators tried to get close, the trail would vanish into the digital fog. Behind the scenes, Alpha Zero 2 had built a small but loyal inner circle. His right-hand man, known only as the Snake, handled public relations and mediated vendor disputes. A team of moderators kept the marketplace running smoothly, resolving conflicts and maintaining order. Together, they operated like a well-oiled criminal corporation, invisible and seemingly invincible. For months, the FBI tried everything. Undercover agents posed as drug buyers. They scrutinized packaging, postal markings, anything that might slip. But these were small fish. The big prize, Alpha Zero 2 himself, remained a ghost. Then came the break. In December 2016, a DEA agent named Robert Miller opened an anonymous email that would change everything. The sender had a gift, a piece of Alpha Zero 2's past. Attached was a welcome email from the early days of AlphaBay, still bearing the original metadata. In a rookie mistake, Alpha Zero 2 had failed to scrub the sender information. The email address was laughably careless: pimp_alex_91@hotmail.com. It was the crack in the armor investigators had been praying for. From that single email, agents traced a digital breadcrumb trail. They found old forum posts, a French-language social media profile, even a teenage dating account. The alias Alpha Zero 2 appeared alongside the real name: Alexandre Cazes, Canadian, born in 1991, self-proclaimed software genius, and living large in Thailand. Through PayPal accounts, LinkedIn, and Facebook, investigators pieced together Cazes' real life: villas in Bangkok, luxury cars, a Thai wife, and a tech company called EBX Technologies that was little more than a front. With Cazes identified, Operation Bayonet shifted into high gear. The FBI coordinated with the Royal Thai Police, Europol, the Dutch High-Tech Crime Unit, and even German cybercrime squads. At the same time, Dutch authorities secretly infiltrated the Hansa market, a rival darknet marketplace. The plan was diabolical: take down AlphaBay, let users flock to Hansa, and trap them in a law enforcement honeypot. Timing was everything. If they struck too soon, Cazes might disappear. If they waited too long, AlphaBay would tighten its defenses. But with every day, the evidence mounted. Surveillance teams tracked Cazes' Lamborghini rides through Bangkok. His every movement was logged, his digital footprint scrutinized. Operation Bayonet had its target. The king of the dark web was no longer untouchable. The trap was set. The Kingpin unmasked. Who was Alpha Zero 2? For years, the man known only as Alpha Zero 2 ruled the dark web like a digital emperor. Hidden behind screens, his fingerprints were on every illicit deal on AlphaBay. The drugs, the malware, the counterfeit identities. His name was whispered in hacker forums like a legend. But in early 2017, the legend got a face. Alexandre Cazes, Canadian, born in 1991, a former IT whiz from Trois-Rivières, Quebec. Not a shadowy mastermind living off-grid, but a flamboyant, cocky millionaire lounging in the tropical heat of Thailand. His life was a sharp contrast to the anonymous world he ruled. Cazes had embraced the fruits of his dark empire with zero subtlety. He drove a fleet of supercars, a bright green Lamborghini Aventador, a sleek Porsche Panamera, and a Mercedes for when he felt modest. His villa in Bangkok was a marble and glass monument to excess, complete with infinity pools, private cinemas, and rooms reserved for his string of affairs. He owned multiple properties, including a $3 million mansion in the outskirts and a holiday home in Phuket. Yet behind the designer sunglasses and the Instagram-perfect lifestyle, Alexandre Cazes was as reckless as he was brilliant. His downfall wasn't orchestrated by some genius hack. It was his own arrogance. The reused email, pimpalex91@hotmail.com, connected his teenage bravado to his dark web empire. Investigators found old forum posts where he boasted of his coding skills, attaching his real name. On Skyrock, a forgotten French social media site, he had uploaded selfies, never imagining they'd come back to haunt him. Even his darknet alias, Alpha02, was traced back to tech forums from his teenage years, where he once helped people remove image viruses. The cocky kid from Quebec never thought he'd need to erase his digital past. After all, he was untouchable now. But no one is invisible forever. Psychologically, Cazes was a fascinating contradiction. A genius coder with a knack for building impenetrable systems, yet a reckless narcissist addicted to public displays of success. He craved recognition, but feared the consequences. His public posts advocated conservative family values, while he lived a double life of affairs, parties, and pickup artist forums, where he bragged about his exploits under the alias Romeo. In reality, he was less Dread Pirate Roberts and more of a cocky playboy who had built a criminal empire almost by accident and couldn't help but show off. As the noose tightened, Cazes had no idea his days were numbered. Surveillance teams followed his every move, his morning drives, his dinners with his Thai wife, his secret visits to his bachelor pad for private encounters. But arrogance breeds blindness. On the eve of his arrest, Alexandre Cazes sat comfortably, scrolling through his social media, completely unaware that the next morning, a simple car crash outside his villa would be the spark that ignited his empire's downfall. The king of the dark web was about to fall, and he wouldn't even see it coming. The Fall of AlphaBay. On July 5th, 2017, the walls of Alexandre Cazes' empire crumbled in an instant. As his Lamborghini cooled in the Bangkok sun and his wrists clicked into steel handcuffs, the digital heartbeat of AlphaBay pulsed on, oblivious to its master's fall. But not for long. Within hours of his arrest, the once thriving marketplace flickered and vanished. AlphaBay, the dark web's most powerful bazaar, was suddenly offline. Vendors panicked. Buyers flooded forums with wild theories. Had the site been hacked? Was this an exit scam? Or was the unthinkable true? Had law enforcement finally breached the untouchable? For days there was silence, and then a shockwave. News broke that Alexandre Cazes was dead. 1 week after his arrest on July 12th, he was found hanging in his Thai jail cell. Official reports called it suicide, but whispers spread like wildfire. Was it really suicide, or was the king of the dark web silenced to protect bigger secrets? Could a man with millions in crypto, multiple passports, and global connections be so easily snuffed out? In the dark web's underworld, paranoia reigned. Meanwhile, Operation Bayonet was far from over. As AlphaBay users scrambled to find new digital homes, many fled to a rival marketplace, Hansa. What they didn't know was that Hansa was already under the secret control of Dutch authorities. For weeks, law enforcement quietly watched as thousands of AlphaBay refugees traded illegal goods, their every move logged as evidence. On July 20th, 2017, the trap snapped shut. Hansa was taken offline. AlphaBay's empire was officially in ruins. The Department of Justice declared it a historic victory, the largest dark web takedown ever. But empires never die quietly. Even as law enforcement celebrated, the dark web adapted. New marketplaces sprouted like weeds. AlphaBay's fall didn't kill demand, it scattered it. Hydra, a Russian dark web behemoth, grew to dwarf even AlphaBay's size before its own takedown in 2021. And then, in a move that stunned investigators, DeSnake, AlphaBay's former second-in-command, emerged from the shadows. In 2021, he relaunched AlphaBay, claiming to carry forward the vision of its fallen founder. This time stronger, smarter, more secure. The dark web had learned. It would not repeat the same mistakes. For law enforcement, the war continues. Takedowns are no longer a final blow, but a temporary disruption. Every victory births a smarter, more cautious adversary. The battle is no longer for a single marketplace. It's a never-ending hunt across an evolving, decentralized jungle of encrypted networks and anonymous transactions. Alexandre Cazes is gone, but his legacy haunts cyberspace. AlphaBay's story is a chilling reminder. As long as there's demand for the forbidden, the dark web will remain a battleground. The king has fallen, but the game of shadows rages on,